Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how much money do writers make per book. The answer, it really depends. You could lose lots of money or you can make six-figure revenue. By the end of this video, you will learn the two paths of revenue for books, the path that's most dependable, and how all of your hard work could pay off in the end. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. It is such a crapshoot when thinking about how much money you could make from a book. You could lose lots and lots and lots of money. Some books I feel like are the big dig. It just feels like everything you do just keeps pushing more money and more cost into it. And then other times it can make lots and lots of revenue. It's such a variable and there's so many little factors at play. And it's really interesting to think about the projects that I've worked on that have been financially successful and the ones that haven't been, and what patterns I'm seeing, over the course of 6 years, 7 years of being a book ghostwriter and writing coach. I'm starting really to see those patterns emerge. So it's been really meaningful for me to recognize, to pinpoint the things that can earn a book money and the things that you want to avoid. Most authors, when they think of making money from their book, they think of book sales, which is such a misguided approach. Yes, it's possible to make money off of book sales, but you need volume. You need lots and lots of books sold to really make your money. If you're interested in making six-figure revenue for a book and you self-publish the book, you might make $6, $7 a book. So if you're making $7 a book and you sell 10,000 copies, that's $70,000, which is a really nice amount of money from a book. You need to sell even more than that to break six figures. On the flip side of that, there's a different way to get revenue from a book, and that's from opportunities, from turning leads into clients, from connecting your book to your sales funnel and using the book as an entryway for people to want to work with you. So you think about that 70,000 figure we threw out earlier. What if you have a $70,000 course, a year-long course that someone can sign up to take? So instead of getting 10,000 people to buy your book, you get one person to buy your book and they end up buying your course. Same amount of money in the end. So it's interesting to look at these two approaches and to consider the fact that it's a lot easier to find that one person, if you do a great job, than it is to sell 10,000 copies of your book. Because most books don't sell more than 1,000 copies today. There's so many books out in the world. There's this glut of mediocre books, and it's really tough to break through. It's really tough to find a message that resonates and to write a book that breaks through the noise. As a result, you really need to dig deep and think about the reader journey and the reader benefit and what you want the reader to do after they read your book. You have to have a call to action in your book that forces them, that requires them, that demands of them that they do something. Whether it's following you on social media, going to your email list, becoming a customer or client of your company, scheduling a call with you, whatever the case may be, the book should be the beginning of a conversation, the beginning of a relationship. This isn't about writing something, them finishing it, and that's it, close the book, and that's the end of the relationship. This is about starting the relationship. We focused on volume and we focused on sales funnel, but there's another option too. Think about using your book to build your platform, to build you up into a thought leader and expert in a certain space. How is that book going to open up opportunities for you? Maybe it's speaking engagements, maybe it's a different job, maybe it's a promotion. There's so many things that can unlock, so many doors that could open from your book. So it's easy to think, again, about book revenue as just book sales. But I think you should think about book revenue in terms of the doors it opens for you, the things that happen as a result of the book, the new things, the new approaches, the new avenues that exist because this book was written and published. Without the book, you wouldn't have these things. So maybe it's the job, maybe it's new clients, maybe it's speaking engagements, it's all those other things. In terms of revenue driving, that's the best way. That's the best way to go about making money from your book, is by connecting your book to these bigger goals for yourself and using the book to get to that next level. I want to go back to that original premise of how much money do writers make per book? And it really depends. You really need to connect all the dots in order to see the value come through, in order to see the revenue driven. It can be so great when your focus is simply on the story and the book and the message, and you don't have to worry about sales funnels or sales goals or revenue targets because all you're focused on is the story. I think that's great. But at the same time, I've worked with people who wanted that to be the next step, that they saw that if they wrote a great book, that the book alone was going to propel them. And they didn't connect all those dots. They didn't pursue a speaking platform. Maybe they even worked with an outside publisher and they spent lots of money to work with them and nothing came of it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just the reality. Revenue-wise, nothing came of it. And it's because they didn't connect the story to their purpose and goals and dreams and all these opportunities that they had coming. And because they didn't connect those pieces, the reader gets to the end of the book and they don't know what to do next, or they don't have a clear path of what to do next. And ultimately, if you want to make money from your book, you need to connect the dots. You need to connect the dots for the reader. You need to make it very clear to them what you want them to do next. You need to have a clear goal in mind of what you want to accomplish from the book and see the book as a stepping stone to help you get there. If you can do all those things and you can write a book that resonates, you can have a lot of success. But again, you have to write a book that resonates. If you write a bad book or you rush through it and don't really spend the time to get it right, no one's going to get to the end of the book. So they're not going to even take that next step. So you really, really, really need to dig deep on story. You need to dig deep on the reader journey, dig deep on outlining, and you need to connect the book to your bigger sales and life goals. And if you can do those things, untold revenue opportunities could exist. Again, revenues is one piece of a successful book, but there's opportunities there to drive revenue from this book, and opportunities you probably didn't even consider. There's so many opportunities that can unlock from publishing your book that you might not even recognize at the time. And it's really about meeting that purpose head on. It's about doing your best to position yourself for success and recognizing opportunities and walking through the door whenever it comes. A book is a long-term thing. It's not a quick thing. It is a long-term opportunity. It's an opportunity to connect, and it requires you to keep pushing, to keep striving, to keep sharing your message. If you think about it in terms of your bigger sales goals and you think about connecting your book to your sales funnel, at any point somebody could come across your book and say, I want to work with you. Awesome. It's an amazing thing. I've seen it happen with some of my clients. We write a book together. The book sells moderately well. It sells a couple hundred copies. And then 2 years down the road, I made a big sale because of the book. Someone read the book and wanted to work with me. They just paid me $70,000 or $80,000. Awesome. I've had those conversations multiple times with one specific client over the past couple months. 2 years, 3 years later, after the fact, oh my gosh, I made another sale because of the book. And it's interesting to think of the work we were doing 3 years ago to write the book and bring it forward, and the fact that those efforts are now paying off in so many ways, and unlocking new powers, new greatness. The fact that you can do this work now and it pays off 2 or 3 years from now is really just a reminder of the bigger picture nature of a book. You don't want to rush it because 2 or 3 years down the road, you could have an awesome opportunity. If you don't take the time to get it right, if you don't share the most important, empowering message, if you don't meet people where they are and connect to their needs and their struggles and their pain points, and help them forward, they're never going to want to finish your book and they're never going to get to that next step. But if you can write a powerful book, so many great things are on the opposite side. So many great things are on the horizon. Just a matter of staying patient because these things take time. If you can stay patient with a great book, everything's going to fall in line. It's just a matter of putting in the work. It's a matter of taking the time, and it's about being patient because this is a longer term thing and this is a life-changing thing. If you want to learn more about how much money do writers make per book, you'll definitely want to watch another episode I recorded. I'll link to it on the screen. It's called Is Writing a Book Worth It? It focuses on all of the reasons why a book is meaningful and a book is so empowering. And a book can open so many doors for you. It goes even deeper than this episode. It's great to be able to see the power of a book and the way your message can resonate with other people. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.